Good afternoon and welcome to the public hearing. Stop this just a moment. There we go. This is regarding the Rochester Subarea Plan update, CP-7B Boy. It's Tuesday, July 28th, 2020, 3:09 in the afternoon. By way of introductions, I'm John Hutchings. I'm the chair of the board. To my right is Vice Chair Commissioner Tom Minster. To my left is Commissioner Gary Edwards. And on the bench, we have County Manager Ramiro Chavez, and to his right is Amy Davis, our clerk of the board. The purpose of this public, if you want to join in, if you are watching, I'll give you the phone number, 360-252-9020, and the PIN is 1234. The purpose of this hearing, public hearing, is to accept and consider testimony on the Rochester Subarea Plan. This hearing includes a new updated draft of the Rochester Subarea Plan that would repeal and replace the 1996 plan. This is a virtual public hearing. Those wishing to testify have joined by Zoom, phone, emailed in comments, or mailed in comments. If you wish to testify, please visit the Thurston County homepage online and select announcements of public hearings on the left-hand side. The information to join this public hearing remotely has been posted there. If you do not wish to testify but would like to listen and follow along, please watch the live stream through the Thurston County YouTube channel to help us manage our attendance. Our staff, Shanna Shula, will provide information on this topic. Assuming those on Zoom wish to testify, I will read your names out loud. I will read the names on the sign-up sheet, 3 at a time. We'll actually do 5 at a time, so we can manage the occupancy in this room. And those in room 152, you'll have a chance to come up when I let you know upstairs to testify. After Zoom and in-person attendees testify, we will ask those on the conference call to testify. You will each have 3 minutes to testify, and time may not be given to another person. When you are called on, please state your name and your address for the record. And Amy Davis has the remote for the timer, and if you're on a call, I'll let you know when your time is expired. So the public hearing is now open. And I have Shanna Shula, will now present background information of the proposal, written comments submitted, and any additional information requested by the board. Shannon, are you there? Shannon Shula, there, no?
Shannon, can you unmute yourself? Shannon?
There we go.
Shannon, can you hear us? Shannon, can you hear us? Please go ahead and present the proposal.
Okay. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am Shannon Shula, Associate Planner with Community Planning and Economic Development. Today's public hearing is to accept public testimony on the Rochester Subarea Plan update. Before I begin an overview, I'd like to clarify a minor web error we had. The January 8th, 2020 draft originally included on the web for this public hearing was an outdated version that did not reflect the Planning Commission recommended changes and some minor edits. The correct version was posted on July 14, 2020, and included the Planning Commission recommendation and the following minor changes. Update reference year to the 1996 plan, a few grammatical errors, and update paragraph relating to the history of Swede Hall. The sub-area plan is part of the Thurston County Comprehensive Plan and listed as Amendment Item 7B on the 2020-2021 Official Comprehensive Plan Amendment docket. The 20-year Rochester Subarea Plan was adopted in 1978 and last updated in 1996, over 24 years ago. Washington's Growth Management Act, RCW 36.70A.130, requires counties and cities to periodically update and conduct review of their comprehensive plan to update goals and policies based on these changes to land use and population growth. The proposed draft of the Rochester Subarea Plan would repeal and replace the 1996 Rochester Subarea Plan. The proposed Rochester Subarea Plan is in alignment with the core chapters of the 2019 Comprehensive Plan Update. Essential elements specific to Rochester are captured and summarized in the new plan and incorporate components of the public outreach that was conducted over the past 2 years. In addition, goals and actions were added to assist with future planning efforts. The county held several public outreach and community engagement activities with residents and businesses in the Rochester and Grand Mountain communities. 4 public open house events were held on February 24th, 2018, March 8th, 2018, November 7th, 2018, and November 13th, 2019. In addition, an informational planning session was held with Rochester High School students on March 30th, 2018. The Planning Commission held 4 study sessions on the Subarea Plan update on April 3rd, 2019, June 5th, 2019, September 4th, 2019, and November 6th, 2019. On January 8th, 2020, the Planning Commission held a duly noticed public hearing and a work session was held after the meeting. 3 comments were received to date, none of which were related to the draft plan. 2 were logistical requests to hold a hearing in Rochester. The Planning Commission provided a recommendation of approval to repeal the 1996 Rochester Subarea Plan and adopt the new Rochester Subarea Plan, which is in alignment with the comprehensive plan and proposes goals and actions for Rochester. On February 12, 2020, the board held a briefing to discuss the proposed amendment and provided staff direction to bring the amendment forward for public hearing. On June 30th, 2020, community planning staff requested the board set a public hearing for this topic. A SEPA checklist was completed and a determination of non-significance was issued on June 2nd, 2020. Written notice of this public hearing was published in the Olympian on July 6, 2020. In addition, a web mail announcement was sent to the Community Planning Division's email listserv and interested parties on July 13th, 2020. A press release was issued on July 20th, 2020. All draft documents were made available to the community planning website for public review. 2 comments were received to date, one relating to the Rochester Water Association, stating that it is a nonprofit member-owned water company with an elected board overseeing the day-to-day operations, and that water users are voting members. The second comment was relating to agriculture and the lack of planning for agriculture. They recommended the addition of a map that designates the farmed land within the subarea and adding language in the natural resources and economic section on the importance of maintaining infrastructure support for regional agriculture and preservation of the existing medium and small farms. There's a follow-up briefing scheduled on August 19, 2020 at 2:30 p.m. to discuss public comment received at this hearing and the next steps for adoption of the plan. We are asking for the final adoption at this meeting. The board may take action on this proposal at any regularly scheduled meeting following this public hearing. This concludes my remarks, and I welcome any questions.
Have you any questions, commissioners?
I guess I just have one quick question. By any chance, in your dealing with the public, it doesn't seem like we're getting much input now, but does it seem to you that most of the community down there is in agreement with what is going on here?
Yes, so I do want to, emphasize that this is just for the Rochester Subarea Plan. And we did a lot of outreach in this area, and that was, some of those were related to the transportation improvements, and we were working with TRPC on that. So for Rochester, we've had a lot of positive feedback from the community, very involved in this process. The Grand Mound, which is coming later this year, that has some other public comments. So it's kind of, the community considers themselves one community, but they're 2 separate sub-area plans. So we have to kind of go through and make sure that we're separating out the comments for each sub-area and making sure that they're addressed in each of the separate documents.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any questions? Yes.
Shannon, I did not understand, you said another public hearing on August 19th? What is,
No, that was just, that's a follow-up board
Follow-up.
meeting to make a decision on the comments from today's public hearing.
oh, okay. So we're not, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
this will be adopted at the end of the year with the comprehensive plan elements. This is just to receive public comments for today's meeting.
Gotcha.
And that's it then. Thank you, Shannon. I'm
Thanks.
going to now ask if there's anybody on Zoom that would like to testify regarding the Rochester Subarea Plan.
Yeah, if I may, I can probably call their names. If they'd like to testify, I will ask them to unmute themselves and provide testimony. What I have right now is Mr. Jeff Merriman. Are you here to testify?
Yes, I am. I'd like to testify on this.
Okay, please go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. As a member of Rochester here, I've tried to have everyone come down to our area to have meetings. At the Sweet Hall meeting, there was the county there talking about the plans, what's going on. They put up a board to please write your comments on. There was probably one positive and about 40 negative about what's going on. Then we also had when DOC was supposed to talk about their plans with Maple Lane over there at the middle school, or I mean high school, and the county was part of that, talking about plans, what's going on in our area. There's a lot of negative there too. I have to politely disagree with Shannon. Our community is not mostly positive, it's mostly negative, and they feel like they're not being heard, and the county's forcing their plans down their throats. If you dig in, I have several public records requests into this over these comments. I have pictures of what was written. Why doesn't anyone talk about the 90% of the people that do not want certain things changed in our community? And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Merriman. Would you, for the record, would you state your address, please, sir?
Yes, it's 16940 Vercon Drive, Rochester, Washington, 98579.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else that would wish to
Yes,
testify?
the next person that I have online is Mr. George Sharp. George, are you planning to testify?
I'm not testifying, thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Ms. Donna Weaver. Ms. Weaver, would you like to testify?
Yes, I would. I've read through the entire document draft, looking at the goals for the future, watching the, and I'd like to comment on the Rochester Water Association to start with. Rochester Water Association has a permitted water usage which allows for a certain number of hookups, which accomplishes keeping the housing in an area that is tight rather than sprawled out over the countryside. I'd like to look at the zoning which does not allow the water association hookups to be used. When the last zoning round came up, they ended up taking away the majority of the additional hookups that could be used because the zoning changed drastically in the area. As far as the future goals and plans, I do like the process. The process took a lot of information in. I believe the goals fit with what our local area is looking towards for the future. Many people don't seem to correlate that the difference of the Grand Mound area and the Rochester area. We get confused down here a little bit about things that are taking place in Grand Mound and want to know what's going on there when we're talking about the Rochester area. And I think it could be a little bit clearer mapping to define the Rochester sub area and the Lamrid areas. I think the Lamrid areas would be really well used with the Rochester Water Association water hookups, which are limited areas of more intensive rural development. But those are not being taken into consideration. I see they're mentioned in the plan, but I think that we could do better defining those as more intensive rural, using those additional water hookups to encourage those areas to build out rather than going out into the agricultural areas. Thank you so much for all the work you've done, Shannon. I appreciate all of the time that everyone has spent going to the meetings, coming to Rochester, spending some time down here with us, walking the streets and getting a good idea of what the area is like.
Donna, thank you very much. It's nice to hear from you. Would you, for the record, state your address, please?
12001 170th Avenue Southwest.
Thank you. Any other Zoomers?
I don't see anybody else. Join us via Zoom. Let me ask somebody on the conference call.
Thank you.
For those citizens who have joined via conference call, if you'd like to testify related to the Rochester Subarea Plan, please unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and state your address. None. Perhaps, are you here for the Rochester?
No. Okay. And let's go to anybody in person in room 152.
Let me see if I think somebody's joined us. Hold on.
Mr. Merriman.
Cindy Rear.
Cindy.
Ms. Cinder Root, can you hear us?
Cindy Root, can you hear us? Are you there? Okay.
Okay.
So is there anybody in room 152 that would like to come up and testify on the Rochester Subarea Plan? If so, I'll give you a minute or so to get up here, please. Thank you. Well, I can see downstairs, I don't see anybody moving this way. Hope not, just disappear.
I got a view of the 152, nobody was moving. So.
Oh, okay. Is there, see, we hit the Zoom, we hit the phones, we hit downstairs. No? Okay, good, thank you. Then there's no further testimony. And so is there discussion among the board members with staff or anything else you want to discuss?
Well, I guess if there's anything that I'd want to discuss, I would want to say that I am not completely convinced that having this hearing under the conditions that we're living under today are adequate. So I don't know that we don't need to expand the process somehow, but we're in a situation that is less than desirable, even amongst ourselves, being able to communicate, and now asking others. We hear people sign up on the phone and then they go away. So I'm not being critical one way or another. It just is what it is. And I wonder if we shouldn't give some mechanism for those that do have concerns to make sure they get their concerns to us. I know a lot of times we make notice ahead of time on these public hearings, but people are confused about getting the information to us. And so I don't know the process because we're all dealing with a new reality. And so I just wonder if we shouldn't give special accommodation to citizens that might have concerns, because it sounds like there is some discussion about a differing opinion of concerns. That's all. That's
What kind of mechanism are you talking about then?
I don't know. I would, I know we've got a time period coming up for a ruling. I'd hate to have the community think they could not get in touch with us between now and some time when we accept, or we potentially accept what's going on. I mean, here we've got somebody else coming on now too. And
Coming on or leaving?
yeah, or leaving. I mean, a lot of technical issues that I feel the community might feel left out. I just want to make sure that nobody is left out of the process, that's all.
It seems, and I want everybody to be heard, everybody's voice to be heard, but between email, snail mail, email to staff, email to us, community outreach in the locations, notices going out to tell them we're having this public hearing, and then we've got Zoom and phone and in person, and people are letting their voices be heard and their opinions known, which is good. If there was another mechanism I'm not thinking of, except for the mask, there's another mechanism, I'm all for it. But I think we're exhausting every means that we have available to let the public know, this is what we're talking about, please tell us what you think. And I get that religiously on my phones, emails, about a whole host of topics. So I'm not discounting what you're saying. I just don't know whether at the carrier pigeon, I don't know what we're not doing that we would do or could do that would enhance or maybe just make sure everybody's being heard. But this was a good public hearing.
Well, I don't know if I'd call it a good public hearing. It is a public hearing.
Well, I met Mr. Merriman.
It meets the legal
I met
requirement.
Mr. Merriman at the open house in Grand Mound, and I'm glad he was testified today.
I guess one of my concerns is, and I know it did not get on the docket, and that is the review of Maple Lane and how that fits in to everything that is going on. I mean, I'm getting a sense that everybody isn't with us. Maybe nobody. There'll never be a case where everybody's on the same team on this. I just want to make sure everybody has their chance to say something. That's all.
Well, regarding Maple Lane, I think the only people that were against it was the state. I didn't hear any positive about it down there at the open house.
Okay.
Anyway, Commissioner Menser, anything, sir?
I'd just add that the Zoom actually adds an element. I mean, Mr. Merriman and Ms. Weaver are dedicated citizens who I know, and they may have driven up here to testify in person, but they might not have. And this actually gives them an opportunity to pipe up without taking their whole day. So there's a push and pull. I'm certainly sensitive to the concern that Commissioner Edwards raises, but not sure what else we can do, because it doesn't look like it's not like just around the corner that we're all done with everything. It's gonna.
Okay.
So if anybody listening has a suggestion of how to do additional outreach or another way to communicate with the folks or encourage them to get their voices heard, please let us know. And we're happy to take that. We can't think of everything ourselves, but collectively we can. Romero?
Yeah, a couple of thoughts. Early in the process, we got a request to hold a public hearing down in the Rochester area. And logistically, that became difficult because you have very specific times in which you have to hold special meetings outside of the county seat that present a problem. And adding the emergency, it created an issue as to finding the right environment, and we can provide social distancing as well as the transparency that you're always looking for in terms of transmitting and YouTubing your meeting. So that was one aspect. The second aspect is what you may consider today is closing the public hearing. It's just closing the time of formal comments. But you can still receive any comments from any citizen before leading to your final decision whether it's next month or 2 months. So the public still has the opportunity to send you written comments, phone calls, maybe have a Zoom meeting individually with you. All that is available to the public to continue to provide testimony to you and provide feedback to you, because the ultimate objective, at least from my point of view, is for you to make an informed decision, taking as many comments from the citizens as you can. So if you close the public hearing today, it's just the formal, but it's still plenty of time for any citizen to reach out to you with their specific comments.
Great point of clarification. We're
Yes.
required to do this amount of open communication, but we received comments before, during, and even after. But this is just a formal requirement that we're fulfilling. So thank you for that additional information. So with
Can I
that,
offer a solution?
pardon me, is that
Mr. Merriman.
Merriman?
It's up to the
Yeah,
previous.
well, go ahead, Jeff.
So Rochester Community Group there at Sweet Hall, we just got a projector recently there, or a projector screen. If there's a way for us to do a satellite Zoom meeting where we can have members of our community come there and do this on a larger scale, I feel that will really allow more people that are not tech savvy to be able to communicate with you guys without having to drive up there.
I told you someone would have an idea. Thank you, Jeff. Now we'll see if that's functional, if we can do that. Thank you very much. Is there a motion to close this meeting?
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. Oh, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I got that part. This public hearing is closed.
And we need to leave this Zoom meeting and go into the next Zoom meeting,
Okay.
because we have individuals who have signed up for the next one as well.
So Jeff, Don, and George, thank you very much.